Ho-ho! Too slow, buddy!
Ha! You like that?
Grenades are too much for you, eh? Ha! Overcooked and overkilled.
Ooh, hot damn! Look at these cutscenes!
This is actually as fun as the movie made it out to be. Wow! Oh, here we go. Here comes the wind-up. Oh yeah, it's the jet shot. Come on, check it out! Ah!
Did you see that shot? Oh man, he didn't have a chance. Oh, this makes me want to laugh.
Next, try laughing out loud.
What?
Come on, show me.
Okay, yeah, that's enough. I wasn't really serious when I said. Oh, never mind. Oh, dear. Whew, let's get back to the game. It's great to see ya! I'm Shep from Gaming Introspection. Happy holidays to all of you. Wherever you are, whatever your background is, I really hope that this is a fantastic time of year for you. If things are going well, I hope things continue to go well for you for a long time. And if they're not, I hope this video can entertain you and bring a smile to your face. Also, my apologies for this episode being almost a week late. I was sick. Like, I felt almost Resident Evil virus level kind of sick. It was like... Oh, no. But I'm back, ready to overanalyze some more hits and misses. If you enjoy revisiting your favorite childhood games, please like and subscribe so you can dive into the introspective looks at many of your other favorites, like Final Fantasy VII. You may want some popcorn along with your favorite beverage today, because this is a long one, even by my standards. But just sit back, relax, and bask in the nostalgia, because we're revisiting that legendary RPG series again, this time diving into its middle ground with Final Fantasy X. This is the last game to really have a player base that wasn't into online games quite yet, just before the internet really took hold. It was the last quality, character-driven entry in the series for years. Some say that Final Fantasy XII was the last real Final Fantasy, as 11 was just an online-driven affair. I gotta be honest, 12 is my least favorite Final Fantasy game. Oh, sorry, I was just checking how many subscribers I lost just now. But seriously, 12 has the absolute worst cast of main characters in Final Fantasy history. I'd wager even RPG history. It's like they just ripped off Han Solo for Balthier, switched Chewbacca into a sexy female bunny, put the worst discount Luke Skywalker they could find in for this Vaughn, who is the most useless, uninspired protagonist ever! What kind of a name is Vaughn, anyway? Oh, and then there's his useless friend. What's her name, even? Pinocchio? Pinello? She honestly doesn't even need to be in the story. And then there's two actually important royal characters who seem cool until they just blend into a hodgepodge of political strife filled with greed and airships. Oh, and crystals.
Yay. Do not expect a video on this one.
But I digress. What game were we talking about anyway? Oh, right, yeah, Final Fantasy X. Oh, bye. Yeah, don't come back. So anyway, this bad boy, it came out at the start of the PlayStation 2 generation, and it helped sell many a console. Honestly, the next true Final Fantasy for me was 15, and even that was pushing it. Ha! Because they're pushing the... yeah, I'm not too funny.
In all seriousness, that is one I might do later on, but it's just so damn huge, and I haven't had the experience with it to know the ins and outs to do it justice yet. Please let me know if you think that'd be a good episode in the comments.
Crap! Sorry, that was awful focus on my part. I promise I'll stick to the actual content that the thumbnail displayed. Mostly.
Final Fantasy's 10th entry was incredibly hyped because this was a huge step up in technology. It was the first in the series to be presented with a gorgeous 3D engine and the initial entry with voice acting.
There was a lot of potential, but also the potential for things to go extremely wrong. And I'm here to tell you that both of those statements have been proven true. Stay tuned for the hits and misses of Final Fantasy X.
Listen to my story. This may be our last chance.
Pretty.
Sure is.
So if you've seen any of my other episodes, you'll notice a common theme on the channel is me ranting about how much older I am than most of you. And this game is a prime example of that. It's 20 years old already! Damn!
And yet, look at how well the graphics have held up. Granted, this is the PS4 remaster, but that only affords it sharper resolutions and cleaner textures. 90% of this is what the PS2 was able to pump out back in the very early 2000s. As a teenager, this was one of those games where we were like, wow, look at the graphics. Things can't ever get better than this. Kind of like that 70s show when the guys are playing Pong and doing the exact same thing. Anyway, the cutscenes in particular were up to 30 frames per second, which was television standard at the time. And it was the closest we'd gotten to having an actual movie Final Fantasy. Emotional moments like Sin's initial attack, rescuing Yuna from the staged wedding, all of these draw you in and motivate you more than any other RPG cinematic had done before, Final Fantasy or otherwise. In particular, meshing with the world's island setting, there are beautiful water effects that couldn't have been done nearly as convincingly on older hardware. I'm not sure if the developers made the conscious decision to have isles and oceans prevalent in the story just for the purpose of showcasing the enhanced visual effects and fidelity of the brand new tech, but it wouldn't surprise me, as it does what it's supposed to do in impressing the player. It was like Final Fantasy VII, but on steroids. Spell effects and battles looked clean and clear, and even in-engine dialogue scenes looked spectacular, although the localization and facial engine team failed to get together on lip syncing.
In his footsteps as a summoner.
Sure.
But the honor of having a father like him surpasses all that, I think.
Hold on just a minute. Seymour's the bad guy, right? We'll just explain to everyone what happened.
Never knowing rest.
Maybe all of the characters should have shrouded their lower faces like Auron does to make it look more believable. My guess is the characters still use their Japanese animations from the original version, which kind of takes the realism out of it. But that's a minor flaw in a game that did a great job at showing off the new hardware's power. The biggest compliment of the in-game engine is exhibited when Yuna summons her elemental Aeons and uses their pyrotechnic storms against powerful opposition. This is simply a tour tour de force in PS2 graphic power. The energy, animations, colors, and magnitude of the explosions and effects were so amazing you didn't mind watching them over and over, even though, ironically, Final Fantasy X was only the second game in the series to give you the option for shorter animation sequences. Oh, they were so incredible! You'd have had to grown up with the original PlayStation to understand what a gargantuan leap this felt like. We were accustomed to static 2D backgrounds with obscure polygonal Lego-like characters running around. But now, we had a moving camera, zooming and panning amidst gorgeous rendered landscapes and characters. However, not everything was amazing. The standard character renders lack emotion and detail, movements can look robotic or synchronized, and some choices for the environmental graphics are just overdone. For example, check out the trees in Besaid. What kind of windstorm is constantly pummeling the island to make the trees sway this much? I mean, grass and shrubs, that's fine, but these are full-grown, 2-foot thick, heavy trunks, and everything's just blowing around like a F5 tornado is coming. It makes the whole area just weird looking, from the trees, for sure, to the tents, to the people. Look at these people. What? Is that Wedge?
It's Wedge from Final Fantasy VII!
Look, he's got the bandana. He's overweight. He's trying to give you good advice. He's even surrounded by cats. This is Wedge. This is the Final Fantasy VII Remake Wedge, who actually got his start in Final Fantasy X before Sin came and transported him into the remake timeline. That's why he's so confused. And it's also why the remake is so bizarre and changed completely from the original, and why Wedge's fate is so ambiguous in that game.
It's where the Final Fantasy VII Remake is headed! I figured it out! It's all going to culminate in an epic crossover with Final Fantasy X! Wait, no. Oh my god, am I losing my marbles? Oh, wow. How many times have I just dissuaded from the topic? Is that 4? I'll say it's 4. Let's move on.
When it comes to music, this was Nobuo Uematsu's swan song in terms of being the main man in charge of the Final Fantasy soundtrack, but he really saved some of his best for last. Although I'm still more of a fan of Final Fantasy VII and VIII, I think it's because I grew up loving the techno and electronica sci-fi instrumentation, especially for the battles. But this game's score has really grown on me over the years. The way it just naturally melds with the organic, almost simplistic and rustic overworld is so genuine and honest. Just listen to some of the traveling themes as you wander the overworld. It's relaxing, and it makes you feel like you have time to enjoy the sights and sounds even more. That's not to say there aren't tenser pieces, like the Run theme in the prologue, and energy pieces like the standard battle music, which is one of my favorites among the standard series tracks. When you're on the path to the Zanarkand ruins late in the game, getting closer to potentially losing a main character, the battles there suitably play a melancholy tune instead of raucous, energized music. Jek's theme is only heard at the very beginning and at the very end. A hardcore rock metal power theme. It is the Ungermax of boss music. It's definitely no one-winged angel, but it does a great job highlighting the internal turmoil and conflict Tidus and Jek have with one another, while doubling as an audio representation of how important sports, aggression, and dominance are to both of them. It's such a smart choice and suits the final boss theme in a truthful way. Even the ever-present series prelude theme has a relaxing, charming house jazz quality to it that reflects the blissful ignorance of Tidus's literal dream world. The soundtrack isn't without imperfections though. The Fayth temples, keep those in mind for later, exude a repetitive, simplistic, droning melody that just adds to the monotonous chores that these things present to you. There's also the worst ever humming of the infamous Chocobo theme that I've ever heard within one of the series' own games.
La 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 la.
What the hell is that? It's not even on pitch. I could whistle the tune better than that.
Oh, damn. You wanted me to prove that one? Well, okay. It's not gonna be perfect, but...
Poor audio quality, to be sure, but I bet I matched the pitch better than that woman.
La 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 la.
Yeah! Blitzball! And yes, I am serious. I'm prepared for the onslaught of negative comments. I'm sure this is something you thought I would put into the misses of the game, but I'm honestly a big fan of this minigame.
Let's look at the concept. Blitzball is Final Fantasy X's world's only form of entertainment. Grim, I know. It's a combination of soccer, football, water polo, and God knows what else, where players are encased in a sphere of water and play 2 5-minute halves, trying to score more goals than each other. I just enjoy the bizarreness of this. Like, it's undeniable that the developers really went into great detail to try and make something completely different. Blitzers have superhuman abilities to hold their breath longer than dolphins. They can also open their mouths and inhale water, too, I guess. And they defy the laws of physics when it comes to how fast they can propel the ball through the water. In fact, I want MatPat from Game Theory, check that out if you somehow haven't heard of it, I want him to calculate how much force these athletes would need to put into their kicks and passes in order to generate the kind of speed some of these special shots, like the sphere shot, have on them. But the game still used a lot of cool sports tactics like tackling and intercepting, and combined that with the statistical probabilities that normal RPG fans tend to enjoy to create a very interesting hybrid.
Though I'm definitely a nerdy guy, I really enjoy sports, both playing and watching, so there is a bit of a personal bias here, but please, just hear me out.
Players have individual stats that make them suited for different positions. You'll have brawny tacklers to steal the ball, fit players with good endurance to sustain a hit, accurate passers to throw it to a wide open receiver across the pool, and shooters that can more easily score from longer distances out. You have to really know each player's strengths. For an easy example, the main character Tidus, his attack stat is awful, so he's useless for stealing the ball, but he's got good endurance, which means he can take a hit from someone tackling him, and he's got the best shooting stat on the Aurochs. The shooting number starts at the player's statistical number and goes down as the ball travels through the water. The goalie on each team has a catch stat, which indicates how much shots they can handle before it goes in the goal. So if a player shoots from way out here, the number will be small or even 0 before the goalie plays it, so it'll never go in. But if you play wisely, pass the ball around and get Tidus open, he can use his endurance to break a defensive tackle and then use his high shot stat, which you can increase even higher if the player has special shots, to rip it past the goalie. There's a bit of randomness added to these calculations, just like in real sports, so you can experiment or risk a bit, like this goal going in that really shouldn't have, but the numbers definitely matter. There are different races in Spira, from the elfish, mystical Guado to the intimidating Ronso race of beastmen, and the game reflects their attributes perfectly. Guado are a tall, lanky species, which blesses them with amazing passing stats, but they're fragile and can easily be tackled to steal the ball. Whereas the Ronsos, they're almost impossible to steal from, but they literally swim slower than any other race, and you can accelerate fast enough to get away from them, opening up chances for free shots. In true RPG fashion, there are some actions that inflict status effects, such as Venom Tackle, which poisons the opponent and makes it so their HP drains faster. HP? Really? Yeah, that too. You need HP to do special actions, which is particularly important for Tidus, as he can use it to unleash the best trick shots, which have a far higher success rate than a standard kick. But you have to conserve energy and play the right way to ensure that you have the HP available when you get the chance. Special moves like the eject shot cost half of your HP, but it lets you get rid of defenders that are in your way, almost like defeating an enemy and giving you less interference for the final blow to a boss, which in this case is getting the ball past the keeper. Some attacks do ridiculous things, like putting the other goalie asleep. You do this, and the goalie just lays there in the water, and your next shot doesn't need any statistical advantage. It just simply glides past the sleeping keeper, and you score.
Imagine if it was legal to poison and render players unconscious in other sports. Like, what if you were just playing soccer and you just snuck a few sleeping pills into the other guy's Gatorade bottle? Oh! You steal my stars, I steal your goals, buddy. Ah, yeah. One more drink before I kick your ass again. Ready for round two?
Yeah, you know what? Take one more drink. I just gotta go stretch first.
Fine. Whatever makes you think you're gonna win. Ah, that's good water. Oh. Oh. Oh, damn. Oh, winning is hard. Oh.
Come on, this hurts.
That's better.
In your face! I knew I could do it! I knew it!
Maybe then my team would actually win something. Oh, but now I'm getting kind of unsettled by this sport. But we just have to remember that it's all just in a video game.
There's even some real-time action skill required too. If you have players set marks before the match and press X at the right moment, you can copy a tech from an opposing player. Stopping the play before you get surrounded enables you to make an open pass without any interference. Whereas if you wait until the opponent gets near you, you'll have multiple blockers that will almost certainly make you fumble the ball if you try to pass. So positioning and staying alert are important. But this isn't perfect. If you have the lead, you can simply hang out in your own half of the sphere and float around in a circle, or even float there and do nothing, and no one will ever try and get the ball away from you. The AI was only developed so far, I guess. It's the only minigame in Final Fantasy X as well, so I'm glad it's such an engaging one to play. And it goes all out! There's scoring leader lists, box scores, tournament brackets, experience points that increase stats, pages of techniques. You can set the positions of each player and learn specialized attack formations. It's nuts! You can also get cool awards from winning tournaments, like Wakka's Attack Reel's Limit Break, which is one of the most devastating attacks in the whole game. Build up his strength stat and watch him obliterate any hapless foe you come across with a Blitzball barrage. Contracts expire, requiring you to spend gil to re-sign players, and on top of all of this, you can recruit other characters all over the world to join your team, much like signing free agents in any real professional sports league. It's crazy. You can hire anyone from a random shopkeeper to Rin, a guy that plays a role in the full story. Players are all over the place, and it's fun to see who you can find to play for your team.
It's really Wedge! Aw, but now my awesome theory is just kind of shattered. Oh well, I'm glad he made it into the game in some form.
Speaking of which, the sport is also woven into the plot effectively, with Tidus's father being a former star himself. Blitzball is the one link between Tidus's Zanarkand and this new world he finds himself in, Spira. It's a moment that pulls Tidus out of what until then had been a miserable survival expedition, almost freezing and failing to light a fire, getting knocked out by a girl half his size, starving,
Hungry.
choking to death when being offered food, and then getting sucked through the ocean by Sin and almost drowning. He had already almost run out of hope before this Blitzball hits him in the head. The sport instantly gives him a way to bond with Wakka and the citizens of Spira in general, which is exemplified with the huge Blitzball tournament in Luca, culminating in a very exciting end to the first act of the game. Similar to how Blitzball was an entirely new idea for the minigame component, the Sphere Grid was a completely reworked progression system for strengthening party members. In almost every RPG before this, stat management was just something that happened when you leveled up. You would fight, and your characters would gradually get stronger. And in essence, that is still happening here, but it's presented in a way that empowers the player. Through combat, you gain sphere levels, which correlates to how many times you can move around this Sphere Grid. Most spaces either give you a power-up in stats or a new ability like haste magic, so it was definitely more interactive. This was the first Final Fantasy that gave players choices on what skills and stat bonuses to give their fighters, not counting the job system from earlier games. If you wanted demure, sweet Yuna to be a bloodthirsty brawler who absolutely wrecked enemies by whacking them with her staff, you could do it. You want Orin, with his badass shades and flask of whiskey, to just chill out in the shadows and be the group's main healer? Damn straight you can do that. It's fun to just try different things and mold the characters into anything you'd like, even ones that defy their innate qualities. There are also unmarked spaces on the grid that enable you to use extra spheres you collect, like strength spheres, which can grant stat bonuses. And the game does a good job at rewarding players with these for accomplishing tough tasks, like winning the first Blitzball tournament you play in. There are some annoyances with this system. The first is these locks. You need to find these rare spheres like level 1 lock, level 2 lock, etc. to continue going down the path you want, like getting this defense and HP buff for Lulu. If you don't have any, you're perpetually stuck without any character growth at all. These locks become more common to find the further you get into the game, especially level 1 and 2 locks, so I think the idea was that the game didn't want you to overgrow grind and get too powerful early on in the story. But it's still aggravating to be punished for embracing the combat and wanting to be stronger. There's some decisions you can make too, like, do you want to spend the extra levels to get that bonus strength upgrade all the way over there? If your character generally uses the bonus, it's worth it. But if you're a mage like Lulu or Yuna, upgrading your strength is useless. I mean, my joking example aside, you're not going to kill anything by ordering a voodoo doll to slap someone, or hitting a tripped out technological machine with an ornamental staff, which honestly makes Aerith's attacks look like a hyper-skilled assassin's, whereas Wakka, he makes good use of extra strength and speed, so it may be worth the lock and extra spaces to get. And then there's abilities that look tantalizing, but you need to spend extra levels to get to. The game really fails at providing a tutorial or any basic info. Is entrust a good move? Who knows? You just have to take a chance and get it. Find out later. You can really dive into this later in the game with special spheres. Return spheres allow you to move anywhere that you've already been. So if you're Kamari and you're done learning some good skills from Riku's path like Steel, you can return and take Wakka's path, letting him improve his strength and defense. Black magic spheres allow any character to learn any previous spells that others have learned. So Yuna can activate some hard-hitting elemental spells to complement her healing affinity. Friend spheres enable you to instantly go where one of your other characters are on the board. Like this, Yuna just got the ultimate holy spell, which is also near tons of other great stat bonuses. There's an empty spot here that I can use a bonus sphere on too. So I do that with Yuna, then use a friend sphere as Lulu, so I can teleport there, learn holy magic, and get all the boosts too. If you plan it out, you can really get ahead. This hit also comes with a caveat, in that I'm speaking more specifically to the updated version, which North American gamers like us had to wait a couple years to get. Every character starts near the center of the grid, so you really have a lot of control. The original North American game locked a lot of paths and spread the characters far, far apart on the board. Jesus, Murphy, just look at how huge this is, and the separation between people. I'm at the final dungeon of the game, and this is only how much I've upgraded one character. It literally takes hundreds of hours to complete. So while you had the illusion of choice, you really had to work hard to make substantial changes. In the original version especially, the aspirations you may have had become so daunting and unrealistic that you just end up following the game script anyway, making this all just a more glamorous and tedious leveling up process. Still, it was the first game in the series to at least try and do something different and give more player agency. Passivity isn't nearly as engaging as active participation, and this would be followed up with games like Final Fantasy XII with the license board, and more recently, Final Fantasy VII Remake's new materia augmentation system. Progress is good. Not flawless, but good.
Speaking of not flawless, we need to talk about the misses now. What's the biggest part of any RPG? The fighting. Fighting comprises at least half of any good role-playing game, and Final Fantasy X's combat, it misses the mark in a few different areas.
First off, battles happen every few steps. The random encounter system is still holding strong in this entry, so there's no way to avoid them. The main battle music, as I've mentioned, is very energizing, but even great music gets very repetitive when you only hear the first 5 to 10 notes for 50 hours ad nauseum. This monotony builds into an even larger problem because of how one-step solution-based the battle system is. Initially, it seems great. For the first time ever, you're swapping out party members on the fly, stealing items, or defending to gain experience before bringing in a finisher to do some heavy damage. You can put in or relieve characters depending on whether they're suited for the situation or not.
This freedom was a long time coming. I always wondered why, if you were traveling around with a lot of other different people, you wouldn't all just fight together.
Look at Final Fantasy VII's awful explanation from Barrett. We can't all be strolling around out there. It's too dangerous. Let's split into 2 parties. Oh yeah, it would be way too dangerous if you had an ex-soldier with a 6-foot sword, a sexy martial arts expert, a holy mage who has planetary powers from a nearly extinct species, a steroid-infused man equipped with a machine gun on his arm, all together.
Yeah, what a fragile, weak team that would be. We'd better split them all up so it's safer for all of them. This is so asinine! This is the stupidest, most dumb, illogical concept that every RPG seems to follow. It doesn't make any sense. Imagine if battles in real life followed this logic.
Well, man, you all souped up? You ready to kick some ass?
Oh, you know it. I got tons of grenades and a few extra clips in my pockets. Ain't nothing stopping me.
Oh yeah, I'm armed to the teeth too, buddy. Let's do this. But, you know what? I think it'd be better if you and I split up before we cross this field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what? How would it be safer if we split up?
Oh man, well, you know, it's just gonna be too dangerous if you and I both go into the field together as a team.
I mean, I could cover your back in case we get ambushed from behind, or I could walk close by so we could, double our firepower.
Here's the thing, man. See, it's just not very safe if we both walk along as a team. Hey, I got an idea. Actually, why don't you take this phone and I'll call you if and when I get there safely. Or if you're in a bind, you just call me and I'll come run and help you. It just might take a few hours.
We wouldn't need any of this if we just went together. Like, if one of us got hurt, the other guy could patch the injured guy up.
All right, so we're good? Oh yes, this will be safer. So much safer. Good luck.
We have to hike 27 miles. That's going to more than double our traveling time.
So, yeah, I'll call you in 12 hours. Or if that doesn't work, just give me some time and I'll call you back. But either way, we're gonna do this. Make sure you wait till I'm out of sight before you start walking my way. Because, remember, safety.
Dude! Where the hell are you? Animals are after me, and they're not even waiting their turn to attack! Help! Help!
In fact, I think out of all RPGs, only Chrono Trigger attempted to give us a solution to this. When you try to go back to the present era with Robo in your party, the gate key has a seizure and botches the time gate direction, making the party end up on this deserted island of near nothingness. If a group of 4 tries to go through a time gate, it completely wrecks the time travel continuum and sends them to the end of time, as Guru Gasper confirms, and that being the case, only 3 players can travel around at the same time. You can switch them out, but never more than 3.
okay. That's at least a plausible attempt at common sense.
Damn, what the hell game is this episode even about? Oh, right, yeah, Final Fantasy X. Oh, that's 5. That's 5 at least. Oh, digress.
So anyway, the fact that you can switch on the fly is realistic and amazing, but it's just so simple. Flying enemies resist magic and can only be hit by high accuracy characters. So for a very long time, that means only Wakka can kill them. Magic enemies can only be damaged by magic spells. So Lulu's used for that. Quick enemies? Tidus's quick sword. Armored tanks? Auron's much manlier sword. Need to heal? Yuna's white magic.
Maybe I'm in a slump.
Tired of fighting fair? Use Kamari's stone breath and move on. Super tough beast? Summon a hell demon. Want to steal useless items? Open chests that only appear in this one tiny isolated forest of the game and drag battles out for 10 minutes longer than they should? Use Riku, I guess. But honestly, her overdrive mix is pretty cool.
If you've seen my Final Fantasy VII episode, you know how I maligned its battle system for allowing every character to instantly be able to do everything. And in comparison, Final Fantasy X looks fantastic. On paper, it forces you to mix and match. But those 4 enemy types that I talked about, quick, armored, magical, and flying, that's it! That is the entire game!
Look at how many wolves there are for Tidus to kill! And one-eyed bats for Wakka to easily ground, and flans for Lulu to shoot particle effects onto, tough, scaly things for Auron to pierce through. Even the more impressive monsters, like the armored knights, have multiple versions. It's nothing more than palette swapping the entire way through. They even have the same animations and most of the same attacks, so you have no adjustments to make. Also, there's no penalty for switching characters out at all. You can do it infinitely. By the way, it makes it pretty anticlimactic in this boss fight. Tidus is like, oh god, there's a cliff at our backs.
What now? We got a cliff at our backs.
As if he's scared the whole party will get pushed over it, and then this happens. Why wouldn't the whole party just run this way? Oh, the developers had a brain fart here. That's kind of embarrassing. Anyway, while it would have been less realistic to have limits on switching, it means you can generally get through standard battles flawlessly. Like, say you wander around and encounter a fire flan. Tidus and Wakka can't hurt it. Even a critical hit doesn't do much. So you need your black mage to cast the opposite element. The way it's structured, you can swap Wakka out immediately and Lulu kills the flan. But say you had to wait a turn. Wakka swaps out, but then the flan has its turn to attack Auron, who has the worst magic defense, and it at least makes you consider bringing in Yuna to heal before you then take it out with Lulu. This would have been much more engaging and would make you think about whether you really want to use a turn or not to switch. A similar system to Pokemon would have made it at least a bit more unpredictable. But actually, even Pokemon is copied, with Yuna's Aeon battles, which is at least a nice change of pace, but it quickly becomes a race to see which monster's super ultra nuclear attack Goku Maelstrom gets unleashed first. Yes, characters can progress any way you want, as I've mentioned, but they generally need to pick a path and follow it. They can't just jump around randomly until very late in the game. So even if you adjust who does what, the rules don't really change. One character will still be doing one job. That's the formula right from the very outset of the game, almost to the end.
This wouldn't be so bad if there was a greater variety of enemies to keep you guessing. But the fact that there are so many copy and paste enemies that are just the same thing but a different color, and it makes it readily apparent that you don't need to change your strategy.
Now, to be fair, there are some redeeming qualities. Limit breaks return in the form of overdrives and can be built up in many different ways according to the strategy of the player. You can build Yuna's every time you heal, for example, or set it to Slayer, so powerful characters like Auron can quickly have limits ready. Tactician allows status characters like Wakka to be rewarded for debuffing the bad guys. Overdrives also require timing and button combinations for most characters like Auron's Bushido, Wakka's slots, and Tidus' swordplay, or swirling the stick rotations for Lulu's torrential magic explosions. Ugh, this reminds me of Mario Party. Don't hurt yourself. This interactivity does help inject some visual variety, strategy, and pace. Using overdrives is encouraged because it makes it easy to overkill enemies, which gives you more sphere grid rewards and items. There's also many very cool boss battles that require you to use specific skills to weaken them. These fiends are much more like old Final Fantasies, with strong offensive attacks, sometimes 2 per turn, that can wipe you out. Every party member can be effective and hit the bosses, and there's more of a chance to mix up your tactics, including some cool actions called trigger commands that only exist for that boss fight. You might catch the boss in a pincer attack, order Sid to pull back the ship so you can avoid the Evre's most dangerous moves and pick it off with blitzballs and magic, smack talk Seymour to gain strength.
So, you too seek freedom from this painful life?
You talk too much, Seymour.
Or switch places on this trippy elemental battlefield in order to avoid mines that this dragon places all around you in a fight, which is one of my all-time favorites. It's engaging and memorable, and it makes you think and plan. Also, the fact that Yuna's summons are fully playable and can be customized and upgraded is unreal, but the bosses are only 5% of the fighting, which is also the only time Yuna's powers are useful. The other 95% follows such an unrelenting pattern that it really isn't challenging, even when the story throws some huge twists your way. After a huge sin event, you're suddenly stranded in a desert as Tidus, whereupon you find yourself craning your neck upwards at this giant, overgrown vulture.
Damn! It's really gonna switch things up now. Oh, how am I going to...
Need some help?
Oh. Well, even 2-on-1 is a change from what we've been doing.
Are you all right?
Oh, so nothing's changed then. Huh. A later segment sees you imprisoned and having to take control of Yuna on her own. And you're thinking, damn, this is gonna be tough. I gotta really use all my Aeon skills. So then, you're checking elemental weaknesses, summoning overgrown unicorns that shoot lightning bolts in an effort to survive using flashy effects. But then, within 2 battles, you stumble upon Kimahri, so you can just go back to hiding behind his brute strength, especially when you find Auron at the next intersection. They really missed an opportunity here. Why would the bad guys just dump half of the party down there to work together and not strip them of their weapons? The other half of the party, the only 3 that can swim, are conveniently thrown into a water dungeon.
What's our sentence?
Think they expect us to give up and die down here?
Why wouldn't they do this with Lulu and Auron? Those 2 can't swim to save their lives.
They gave traitors to the Yevon religion the best possible chance to survive, complete with an undersea hallway that apparently just leads back up to the main hall where everything started. This is all mismanaged so poorly. I'm going to end this miss right here.
You're all right?
Let's switch things up.
We were so worried. It's good to have you back.
Let's have a brief overview of most of the cast. From a visual design standpoint, this is classic Final Fantasy tailored to teenagers. You've got otherworldly, asynchronous main character costumes and eyeballs, cleavage being emphasized more than important plot details in cutscenes, your typical talking animal character,
Gaga Zet is Ronso land.
and the gruff, chastising veteran with a mysterious past.
And this character is almost always an old man, who is usually in his mid-30s, but treated like he was a 94-year-old with brittle bones, liver spots, and Alzheimer's. Want me to prove that last one?
Don't break any bones, old man.
Don't break any bones? He's listed as 35. That's roughly my age. Do I look like I'm about to fall apart? But yet, that is what you had to do if you wanted to round out your character list. Do I look old to you? I mean, I hope not, but what do I know? I mean, this generation is... Hey, what the hell? Hey, get, oh, you're ruining my shot. Get out of here. Go steal some stars or something.
But this time, they had to match these designs with human actors to try and bring more nuance to them than ever. And unfortunately, there's just so much awkwardness in both the script and the actual delivery. Starting with the script, check out these contradictions.
Hey! What's gotten into you? Hey, it's okay. Only summoners, apprentice summoners, and their guardians can enter here. It's a tradition, very important. Well, now that we've come this far, might as well go all the way.
Words! Show me action!
I'm telling you, she won't die!
Boy, don't forget those words.
So are words important or aren't they? Sometimes it's not confusing, it's just poor acting.
Let's all go see him.
Or cringy jokes.
They say Seymour went to Macarena Temple.
Macalania Temple.
Alright?
Awkward, right? Well, speaking of jokes, here's a warm-up to something that we'll look at more in detail later.
The wind. It's nice.
Someone, please clue me in. My sense of humor just isn't sophisticated enough to understand the gut-busting hilarity of this superior interaction. Please enlighten me as to how the wind, it's nice, became the ultimate in humor. Jesus Murphy!
And check out this moment from when Tidus reunites with Orin after the Blitzball tournament. Tidus freaks out and spills his emotions, rightly suggesting that it was Orin's fault that he got transported to Spira, and check out Orin's response.
I'm telling you, it's all your fault!
He laughs? And not just laughs, he laughs like an absolute madman, like he's completely turned insane or gone senile. It's not only really inappropriate for the moment, it goes completely against Orin's character.
Orin is a cool, sly, badass, and the most levity you hear from him is a very odd chuckle. Which is interspersed with grunts and disapproving scowls. So this just makes absolutely no sense. To say that it's jarring would be the understatement of the year. Imagine if this was his retort to Tidus's insult.
Don't break any bones, old man.
Yeah, even Kamari wouldn't put up with that.
And then, only about half an hour later, we get to bear witness to this.
Next, try laughing out loud.
What?
Come on, show me. You probably shouldn't laugh anymore.
I mean, Tidus, yeah, he's a loudmouth idiot, but this is over the top even for him. And yeah, Yuna likes Tidus. They've been gradually getting along with more frequency and more comfortably, but it's still very early in their relationship. Is she really going to do that with a guy she just met 2 days ago? She hates drawing attention to herself, saying, "I'm sorry."
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have.
There's nothing to be sorry about. I'm just not really sure what's going on.
My apologies.
Constantly and softly smiling and chuckling.
What do you want to do?
To scream real loud.
But she suddenly transforms into this goofball.
I know they were just trying to display the growing affection between the two, and also show that Yuna wanted to have some positive, some laughter, in a journey that was destined to be filled with a lot of sorrow. But this just doesn't work. Is it memorable? Oh yeah, it's memorable. Is that always a good thing? Oh no. Sorry, but no.
If I was in her summoner party, I would be so gone. I'd be like, nope, sorry guys, I'm out. Good luck trying to fight sin, but I'm not going out laughing like that. Tidus's voice in general is very high-pitched and nasally, and combined with the chronically cliche adolescent tirades.
What am I supposed to say? You tell me it's my decision, but I don't have a choice, do I?
If you want everything, you'll end up with nothing.
But I want everything. You're the only one who can tell me what's going on anyways. I have to go with you, I have to.
I definitely sympathize with fans who wish this was still a silent Final Fantasy or that he was recast. The benefit of previous games was that we could just imagine the characters' voices exactly how we wanted to. Once you match an actor with any of them, you lose your ability to envision a character as precisely as you once had.
It's all right.
Riku's primary goal in life is to make sure everyone is blissfully happy.
What's up?
Oh, I just wanted to wish him good luck.
And that no one's feelings get hurt.
Don't tell me you were hoping it would. Fine, stay here.
All right already. But you didn't have to say it like that, you know. You could be more comforting or something. You know, try to cheer me up.
Dwelling in the past is futile.
Hey, you don't have to say it like that.
You want to waste time listening to her regrets?
You don't have to say it like that.
I'll admit, her sensitive personality is needed in such a somber, grim storyline, but except for the abrupt introduction of her home, which is destroyed by her own father 20 minutes later, she doesn't have much of an arc either. But comic relief is important.
Hey, whoa!
I want to go home.
Kimahri, who actually shares his voice actor with Wakka, by the way, is cool at first because he doesn't talk until a dozen hours into the game, but then once he chats more, it's the same monotone, and he never really develops into much of a character beyond Kimahri angry, Kimahri protect Yuna, save some for Kimahri.
Kimahri goes first. Yuna is safe. Kimahri protect. Yuna needs Kimahri. Kimahri protect Yuna.
His biggest role in the plot is the fact that he finds Auron on death's door after his fatal fight with Yunalesca, enabling him to find out about Yuna and protect her. And all of that is just revealed in a speech Auron makes. It's all off screen, and thus, Kimahri too fails to have any compelling development. Loyalty and reliability are some of the best qualities anyone can have, but if that's all we see, it doesn't make for a particularly complex character. Lulu's only revelation is that she accepts her old boyfriend's death.
But those were the happiest days of my life. Goodbye, Chapu.
And her past summoner's death.
Died here.
She just begrudgingly comes to terms with death. Oh, talk about depressing. I know she's goth, but yeesh. Her whole other shtick is lecturing Tidus throughout the early phases of the adventure. Then she just disappears into the background like any NPC. She's just the queen of exposition.
The Fayth are people who gave their lives to battle sin.
Micah? Maester?
Maester Micah is the leader of all the peoples of Spira.
What's the calm?
The calm is a time of peace. This is the moonflow. It's too quiet. The Fayth is inside. As are the fiends. Looks like we're stuck here for a while. We need to sit and think. Maester Kelk Ronso. All you need is determination. Yuna's off in the woods. The Calmlands. Yuna's been kidnapped by the Al Bhed Sykes. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Summoners usually just pass through on their way elsewhere. What?
I didn't even ask a question and you're explaining things.
Even the main character notices this. If it wasn't for the battles, she wouldn't even be remembered. Waka fares better, in my opinion. He at least has the big brother thing going on, putting up with an absolutely clueless Tidus, as he tries to come to grips with a whole new existence. He gets a spotlight section at the big Blitzball tournament, and he also confronts his own stubbornness when it comes to religious topics, and overcomes his own racial prejudice by the end of the story.
I guess I didn't know anything about the Al Bhed. Didn't know anything. Didn't want to listen to anything. I was a big jerk. So, I'm sorry, huh? Please forgive me.
Which culminates in the best and most pure truth I've learned in my life.
There's a lot of folk in this world. Some of them good, some of them bad. That's all there is to it.
We don't have to look any deeper than that. So let's surround ourselves with good people, because life's too short for anything else.
The tertiary characters are hit and miss. I mean, there's this dedicated old man who somehow keeps up with the young party as they travel, explaining legends, mythology, and historical, never actually seen characters, which really does a great job in terms of world building and lore. The voice actor is so dedicated and genuine. You can't help but enjoy the old school power and charm.
Compared to sin, humans are mere mud puppies. My travels have taken me to many places, and I am troubled by what I have seen.
He's so worldly, but he also makes fun of himself as he acknowledges that he doesn't know everything.
And that which is unreal becomes real for all to see. Or maybe not, who knows?
He even makes fun of his own catchphrase.
And that, as they say, is that. And that, as they say, is that. And that, as they say, is that. Well, maybe not all of it.
But other characters are just ripped off stereotypes. Like this! Who does this remind you of?
Rides the shoe puff? No, I don't think so. It's bad idea, yes.
Please, we beg of you.
Impossible! Impossible! All aboard! Shoe puff launching. What could that be?
It's Jar Jar Binks!
It's an even uglier, less useful version of Jar Jar Binks. Oh, I can't possibly show a more humiliating miss than this, so let's just move on.
What could that be?
I'm a bit torn on this one, because Final Fantasy X's story has good pace and is the most focused in the series. And a big reason of why that is because it's constantly pushing you forward.
It can't be.
It is. Sin is checked.
There's never too much of a dry spell between the next plot reveal.
I've decided to marry.
Characters are continuously motivated both externally and intrinsically through a steadily building narrative that encapsulates characters' backstories, religious influences, and consequences to decisions made by both protagonists and antagonists. The downside to this pace is that you're almost constantly just walking down a single straight, narrow path. There is very little opportunity to explore. Take a gander at just how many times the minimap is a singular hallway. A line! Oh, look, this one's special. It's got a slight curve to it that bends. Well, that kinda actually made me stumble, it was so different. Now we're getting ambitious. It's pretty bad when one ship, one nondescript boat that's only in 20 minutes of the game offers more variety and exploration than the entirety of the planet. You can't even leave the ship's boundaries, and it's still, ironically, more free roaming than anywhere else. There's Tidus showing his playful and creepy personality traits through binocular usage, the main deck where you can have interactions with the whole party and the Auroch Blitzball team.
Great plan.
Hey, it is a great plan.
Don't look at me.
The captain's quarters, having some more dialogue, a downstairs area, which introduces Owaka the merchant.
Ooh, them's fascinating clothes you're wearing.
And has a door to the crew's chambers, where one guy is puking beside a treasure chest you can open, the engine room powered by chocobos, which features the ear-piercing chocobo singing woman we saw earlier, and tons of bonus conversations with random passengers that gives some extra life and variety. There's even lots of conversations between Waka and Lulu that you can encounter. That's what one single ship has to offer. But otherwise, it's just... It's disheartening to say the least. Honestly, the biggest diversions you can take are these tiny, minuscule, one-way paths to extra treasure chests or items. That's it. And it's sad how excited I get when I see an actual small little extra route on the minimap. It's like, oh wow, I can make a slight turn here and find an insignificant item. Glorious! Even when you think you can find something extra, often it's just a wasted trip. And sometimes these little divergences lead to nothing. Why even put them there then? Look at this suspicious curved trail on the map. Looks like it should get you to a treasure or a hidden area, right? Nope. All you did was guarantee yourself some more extra battles. Compare this to any Final Fantasy before, and I'm talking virtually any of the past games where there were much larger towns combined with a large-scale world map that allowed you to quickly return and visit many places, which often were updated with new items, new conversations, etc. And you're really missing a lot of the exploration that Final Fantasy was known for. You don't have that luxury here. You're walking through the world in real time, every step, true to scale. And so even if you could go back and find new things, you'd have to slog through the actual real-life monotony of retracing your steps. Ever wonder how Kilika was getting along after Sin killed so many innocent people and destroyed it? Too bad. You're not gonna see it recover. Want to visit the far plane again after you've seen the cool illusion-filled place? Maybe have other conversations with the characters' deceased loved ones? That would give a lot of insight to the characters, right? Well, are you willing to walk all the way back through half the game to see? Because I'm not. It's so rigid.
To quote The Simpsons, the rod up this game's butt has a rod up its butt.
Look at this! It's a rare fork in the road that has nothing blocking it, but I cannot, for the life of me, get Tidus to access it. The game forces me to do the Lightning Temple first. I've never seen something so restrictive.
I really do empathize with fans' criticism on this point. It's well warranted, and many suspect that it found its way into a later entry in the series, Final Fantasy XIII, another game that many fans claimed as being just one that followed a long hallway. Imagine being forced down that same downtrodden path, despite all of these other opportunities that seemed within grasp, but never allowed us any access. Ha! Easy! Nuts to this. Oh. Love. Compassion. Friendship. Tolerance. Money. Power. To do our best. Damn it. Isn't there anything different to look forward to? Wait, Oh my god! Oh my god! Well, that snippet was the story of my life right there. But the point is, Final Fantasy X's narrative is already super strong. It's got amazing characters and a great plot focus. So why couldn't it just loosen up and let the player explore some side quests now and then?
The only area that is super huge and big, the Calmlands, has nothing of interest. It's just a big, wide open plain full of the same generic colors. Calm is right. There's nothing going on. Yes, you can do this beast capturing minigame, but that's simply wandering around and fighting, which is what you've already been doing for 50 hours anyway, except you have to use inferior weapons to catch the beasts. It's just a more tedious form of it because you're trying to find certain animal types. Oh, there! You crazy guy! Here's every single species in the land. You'd better have a damn good reward for me.
Yeah, that really motivates me. A chest that you can't open, with no clue or hint or anything as to how to open it. Yeah, thanks. That was fun.
As a final insult, near the very end of the game, you suddenly are told to use the world map to choose a destination.
Our baby here'll take us anywhere we want.
Sweet! Let's dive in!
What the hell? It's just a list of all the locations you've been to already! Doesn't that 3D schematic lure you into wanting to fly all over Spira? Wouldn't you get excited to fly over all the land that you've traversed on foot in seconds? Well, good news for you. It'll take even less than seconds because you don't see any animation at all. You press a place, and you're there. Baj Temple. Oh, that sounds cool. Oh, for God's sake, that's the deserted island you land in at the start of the game. Isn't there anything new and interesting? Oh, look, a search feature.
I am sorry I jumped to that conclusion. This is the option that's gonna let us fly around just like the High Wind in Final Fantasy VII. Let's do this. What? X, Y, Z coordinates?
You just press X somewhere on the map and just hope to God that it finds something. This is Final Fantasy X's version of exploring.
Does this look like fun to you? Because that's all this is. I literally don't even have to look at the TV because I have no idea where any of the locations are. Just go like this, swirl and tap. Tappity tap, tap, tap. Oh, yeah!
And suddenly you're finding these random sites and you get excited. You press on them and what? What is this some kind of cinema scene? Who are these guys? What's going on? Wait, whoa, what? Did that move back there? Wait, was that me? That's me? 2 miles away on a slab of something? Why? What am I supposed to do here? Oh, a weapon. That's what this entire search thing culminates to? Wow. Oh, look, now I'm underneath a waterfall in the first island of the game, Besaid. You get to open a treasure chest and get a spear. Yay. That's what most of them are! Just bonus chests and items. But you get so used to this, you go to one marked Omega Ruins, and suddenly you're getting steamrolled by monsters that have no weaknesses. You don't get any information on them. They use gravity attacks to cut everyone's health in half. They take tons of damage before dying and counterattack with poison and other status effects until you drop dead.
Oh, no. Tonberries. Remember those? They rip you apart.
No problem.
No, Tidus, that is a big problem.
See, notice how everyone else is bailing out? Do you not know what a tonberry is? Well, if you're gonna stay in this, you might as well attack it. No, you idiot! He's got the secret weapon. Defending isn't going to work. It won't work! Oh my god.
Well, aren't we glad we finally got to do some exploring?
Also, by the time you get the airship, you're at the climax of the story and you want to go kill Sin and end it all anyway. You're not really excited for exploration when the final battle is just blinking at you and drawing your attention to it, and why would you be? So, you go beat the final boss, the game's over, and that's that. There's no really excitement left or motive to go find a few ticky-tack items that you'll never use anyway. So even the ability to explore later is poorly implemented.
I'm done. I'm done with this miss. It's sinful. Let's move on. This game took the premise of visiting and praying at a temple, which I doubt this game's core audience of adolescent boys was raving about back in 2002, and actually managed to make it an even less desirable experience than what that audience probably anticipated going into this.
In order to awaken the Fayth spirits, which grant you the all-powerful Aeon monsters, you need to go into the Cloister of Trials, which is simply an underground labyrinth of boring puzzles. These temples are tedious, problem-solving slogs where Tidus has to slowly pace around with these glowing spheres and put them into holes to open up paths. The music is among the worst tracks in the game, droning on and on.
There's no enemies to fight, no characters to talk to, not even your own party to give you hints or anything, and absolutely no excitement.
This is the worst possible routine they could have come up with for changing up the pace. You want to know what's even more inexcusable? Tidus can only hold one of these tiny little snow globes at a time. One! Look at how much crap I'm lugging along with me. Do these temples paralyze one of his hands while he's in there? Why can't he carry two at least? This makes something that's slow as sludge even slower, because you have to constantly switch out out spheres, especially when you put one in and get no effect or hint that what you're doing is working, and you end up putting spheres in the wrong places because you end up getting fed up having to work around all this bullcrap. To top this all off, there's even more cryptic and out-of-the-way puzzles that are solved using destruction spheres, which reveal chests containing very worthwhile equipment. It's not obvious where they go. You put them onto pedestals and into recesses. Nothing happens. You run back and forth like a jackass trying to find the magic combination of spheres, swapping spheres around because again, you can only carry one of them until you finally find the right spot and are rewarded with a sweet armor that reduces all elemental damage. What's really frustrating is you only get one chance because of the aforementioned linearity. Once you've left these temples, you can never go back again because the plot boots you in the ass. And even if you did, the benefits or motivation isn't there because the treasures aren't worthwhile anymore anyway. Even the camera is a bastard in these things. In the Jose temple, you're supposed to push all these pedestals into the wall to get the electricity flowing. Oh, okay, that seems easy enough. There. So, nothing? No hints? What am I supposed to do? I go back down to the first part of the puzzle, I frig around and wreck everything I had figured out before I go back up and realize that the last two pedestals were there, but hidden off camera. How the hell was I supposed to figure this out? Even if you get close to them, the game doesn't register it until you're in the absolute pixel perfect spot. How frustrated do they want us to be? In Macalania, I was initially jumping for joy because Yuna had gone through first, solving the puzzle for me, so I could just dash right into the boss fight. But then, after it's all over and I'm heading back out, the ice bridge shatters and the puzzle resets.
Give me a break. What?
So I push more pedestals into ice blocks, down slides, and do more boring tasks to make this ice bridge reappear. Oh, and the big prize for this one? A luck sphere. A luck sphere? What the hell does luck have to do with Final Fantasy anyway? The only luck I've found from doing these puzzles is the bad kind. The game is literally taunting me by this point. The Bavel Temple is the worst of all. Tidus just keeps treadmilling along neon 80s era floors in a straight line. It's even more restrictive than all the paths you've walked along earlier. You're unable to move, getting confused by flashing arrows, which also makes you not turn when you want to, and it just keeps going on and on. If you miss these arrows, you keep falling off the side and repeating the same sections over and over. It's the height of tedium. I'm playing this 4 times fast to spare you the agony, but I bet you're still bored with this. I do not blame you. All the while, you have to keep tapping X just to ensure that you actually stop at these arrow junctions, while again juggling that one sphere back and forth as you slowly solve the puzzle. You have to backtrack over and over because you don't have a clear solution offered to you. But there's such little interactivity that you space out and don't remember what the hell you're doing. Oh, I lied. They saved the worst for last. Here, you're given images of what looks like Tetris blocks, and you have to run around the floor, stepping on the same blocks that are on display. If you step on a block that doesn't belong, every single point of progress is erased. It's like a long, drawn-out version of Simon Says. So you finally, mercifully figure it out, and the door opens. You're excited, so you run through the door, and then you have to do the exact same thing. Except now, the floor is as big as a football field. And again, one mistake after running around for 2 miles, and you're back to square one. And you have to do it 6 times!
Whoever the puzzle designer was in this game, I wish you the best. I hope you and your family are healthy, and I hope you're situated very well. Happy holidays. But I have to tell you, you really sucked at your job! Why is this so boring? Why is something as awesome as summoning powers hitched onto a quest that is so incomprehensible and sleep-inducing? Oh my god!
Remember how you got these summons in Final Fantasy VIII? You had to go underleveled into a broiling fire cave, endure tough battles against popular enemies like self-destructing bombs, while also fighting through a time limit, stressing yourself out, and then you have to fight Ifrit himself as you desperately fling ice magic at the legendary Hellbound demon, healing yourself, summoning Shiva to counteract his fire, pitting two of the most popular entities of all time against each other, giving it everything you have, with that awesome techno boss music pulsing in the background. It felt like a real, amazing accomplishment, making it so rewarding when you unleash its hellfire as part of your monster-killing squadron!
But here? Well, yeah, you get Ifrit just the same. And here's the lead up to it.
You open a fire door. Then, Wakka tells you to wait. Kimahri shoves you. Yuna stumbles out of the praying chamber, kneels down, and Ifrit's name screen pops up.
Which one's better? Yeah, exactly. Well, that wraps up the misses for this revolutionary game. And as always, I would like to thank you for tuning in to Gaming Introspection. And I'd also like to ask you to stick around for a few minutes more, because there's a hit that just has to come last. Yep, I'm putting things out of order just this once. Characters are the most important, enduring part of any RPG, and there's a pairing here that just absolutely had to be saved for last.
Final Fantasy VII has Cloud and Aerith, Final Fantasy VIII has Squall and Rinoa, and is explicitly structured as a love story.
Final Fantasy IX has a horny monkey man that's in love with a midget princess. You post-2000 era gamers don't believe me, but it's true.
I'm serious. Yeah, it got kinda weird here. So, Final Fantasy to this point almost always had a mandatory main character romance duo. Tidus and Yuna are no exception, but they truly benefit from the vastly superior graphic technology and the addition of voice acting.
I've done it. I have become a summoner.
This was also the last mainline Final Fantasy game in which players could choose the name of the main character. Done in a very clever way, I might add.
Can you sign this?
No problem.
However, this forced the script to use pronouns for the entire duration of the story, which becomes so ridiculous and unnatural by the end. It's no wonder they finally just gave up and made unchangeable, set-in-stone character names since.
Sorry, man. No time for lunch yet. This guy here wants into the tournament so bad, I let him on the team.
Hey, new guy.
I guess that leaves the newest guardian. You are.
When I was a kid, I enjoyed naming myself the main character as it made me feel empowered and a real driver of my own destiny. But in this case, especially considering Tidus's history of neglect and loathing of his parents, it's a really awkward thing to do in this game. Tidus constantly has nightmarish flashbacks about his dad's drinking problems, how much he hates his father, or how his father caused the death of his mother.
Makes me mad. It was his fault that me and my mother... Mom?
It's so ridden with angst and depressing, especially if you usually envisioned yourself as the protagonist. Still, I can't deny, he's fully developed, and this parent conflict is much more interesting than the parents died in a fire or died when I was young trope that almost every other RPG, Final Fantasy included, goes through. It bucks the trend and emphasizes a flawed, but still very precious father-son relationship instead of shying away from it.
No idea what I was thinking when I ran after Sin that day. Before I knew what I was doing, there I was, chasing him down like a thief at market.
Speaking of past Final Fantasies, another thing that was a relief was not to have disenchanted, moping heroes like Cloud and Squall sour everyone else's enthusiasm with their antisocial, repellent to the max personalities. Tidus is obnoxious, confident, and loud.
Stop right there, goers!
And this definitely makes him polarizing. But you can't deny, it was a welcome change seeing a protagonist who clearly is physically attracted to the cute girl next door, instead of playing it off all cool.
Don't get no ideas.
No promises there, big guy.
I think Square overcompensated due to the grimness of Squall, but still, it was refreshing. Yuna's likable simply because of her insistence.
Do you think I can become High Summoner?
As Auron says,
that's the way she is. She's naive, serious to a fault, and doesn't ask for help.
upsetting someone or letting someone down would be the ultimate failure for Yuna, and she is the definition of selfless yet strong.
We're looking forward to another calm, my Lady Summoner.
I'll do my best.
Her attraction and affection to Tidus feels genuine, though in my opinion she gets infatuated with him a bit too quickly. There's some real plot conveniences with her father and Tidus's happening to be the ultimate sin-busting team 10 years ago.
Why, that's the day that Jekt came to Spira.
That definitely makes her want to get to know him more. However, I like the fact that this gives them a bonding familiarity, in that they had to deal with parents who were regarded as heroes and or famous, which means they've inherited that burden themselves. Tidus makes genuine progress to earn Yuna's trust, skipping his Blitzball debut to save her from Albed abduction, having heartfelt discussions about their parents, death, and the afterlife, especially in the Guado City, where fireflies create physical manifestations of loved ones that have been lost.
Even if she defeats Sin, it will kill Uni too, you know?
While it is a bit melodramatic, I buy the emotion when Tidus is finally told the truth about the summoner's ultimate fate after battling Sin. The sacrificial nature makes him reflect on his previous nonchalant, optimistic comments, realizing how insensitive it must have seemed to everyone.
And I've been telling Yuna, let's go to Xanarkin together! Let's beat Sin! I told her all the things! We could, and all along, the whole time, I didn't know anything! But Yuna, she'd just smile.
And when he thinks about how that must have affected Yuna, with him just going on and on with things like, you can just beat it again! You're the best! Woo! Go Yuna! Oh, that comes spiraling down on him hard. And everyone remembers the famous wedding crash, where he heroically endures the instant eject kicks of robot cyborgs and flamethrower men that look like they were imported from real-world North American fire departments of 1998 in order to save Yuna, which completely loses its gallant energy when the whole party just gets captured anyway, and Yuna just saves herself anyway, which she could have done at any time, but regardless, his heart was still in the right place. The climax of their relationship development,
yes, I know what I said. Let's all be mature here, people.
Manifests in the spring scene. Is the underwater makeout session an amazing allocation of awesome aquatic allure? Yes. Does it feature one of Uematsu-san's best compositions in Final Fantasy history? Also, yes, but this isn't actually the big selling point for me. It's the conversation they have just prior, where Tidus tries, and damn near succeeds, to convince Yuna to just give this whole quest up.
Yuna, just don't do it.
The pilgrimage?
Forget all about Sin. About being a summoner. Forget all of that.
Maybe I will.
Especially with the revelation that the ultimate adversary, Sin, will always just come back anyway. Why suffer? Especially when the arduous pilgrimage culminates in dying. He tries so hard to convince her, with promises of visiting his own Xanarkin and partying. It's such an alluring and much happier existence to just leave responsibility behind and embrace pleasure, live for today and for oneself.
I can't. I just can't. I can't go.
But Yuna's stubbornness towards sacrifice and the greater good is just so pure and unyielding that it's Tidus that eventually has to just accept this. And that leads him further into finally finding a way to break the cycle of death that Spira has been suppressed under for millennia. The tragic part is that the key to actually unhinging the final summoning tradition entails stopping the dreams from Yevon and his followers from 1,000 years ago during the war, who have been summoning a dream Xanarkin for the last millennia. And Tidus is one of those summoned dreams.
I don't have time to be dreaming now.
You're wrong. It's not that you're dreaming. You are a dream.
So, by silencing the thoughts of the Fayth, who also help summon the powerful Aeons, all the dreaming will disappear, and Tidus along with it. You circumvent the whole arc of Yuna needing to die in order to summon the final Aeon, but ceasing the summoning entirely means Tidus can't exist anymore. The heartbreak is earned, especially during the ending scene, which still makes tears well up today. It's handled with so much class and care, with the ending vocal theme making this the most emotional I've ever found Final Fantasy to be.
Gamers, what is your favorite Final Fantasy romantic pairing? Let me know in the comments. For me, Tidus and Yuna, those two are tough to top.
Final Fantasy X is the standard bearer for the entire series in several ways. It boasts top-tier visuals, matching them with a strong soundtrack. The setting is distinct and natural, with an innovative sport that's mixed into the narrative well. The woeful tale of Spira is still the most focused and strongest of the franchise in my opinion, and its ending is emotional, with a heartfelt payoff for all the storytelling groundwork that was placed in the opening acts. However, the game needed more time with its localization and voice acting talent to nail some of the moments with better sincerity and seriousness.
He's blocking the front row!
The battles get redundant after only 10 hours, and you're always being rushed along and are prohibited from venturing out, despite really wanting to explore more of this beautiful world that's been introduced to you. Overall, it's a journey well worth taking, just not one that has much replay value once you've reached the conclusion.
That is, until you let it rest for a few years, and then you come back to it, and you find so much joy in rediscovering the virtuous characters and noble themes of love and self-sacrifice that are universally acknowledged.
Speaking of the ending, as Yuna says, let's not forget the people who are important to us, including those we have lost. Final Fantasy X is a story of loss, death, and suffering, but also of the unending memories and hope that can keep us going when we need to be strong. People are never gone, as long as we remember them.
Never forget them.
Wherever you are, and whatever kind of holiday you're having, please find the people that make you happy. Cherish your moments with them, and never let them go. Sincerely, thank you so much for spending the last hour plus with me. And if you find 50 free hours in your holidays, go and experience this legend again. It's well worth the trip. But it's all just my opinion. What hits did I miss? And what misses should I have hit? Let me know in the comments. I'm taking a few extra weeks to get future episodes ready, and I cannot wait for the new year because you all make this so much fun. Have a wonderful new year in 2023, gamers, and please join us back in late January for Gaming Introspection. Until then, cheers.